Good morning, auditory, jury, colleagues. It is a great honor to be here today and present this awesome, really useful, really successful project called Mapeirons. Actually, not to present, I'll be more here looking for the question part, but we'll have a video as a presentation, so let's see it.
Environment Accessibility Campaign, a new beginning for people with disabilities. Let's introduce ourselves. People with disabilities. Some of them cannot see, some cannot hear, a lot of them are in wheelchairs. Apeirons is an organization of people with disabilities. Their goal is a society in which everyone is included and able to live full lives. However, the facts about environment accessibility in Latvia are harsh. Only 28% of buildings that were built or renovated using the aid from the EU funds are fully accessible. People with disabilities have limited access to over 80% of the newly built or refurbished buildings. A fundamental problem with our largely inaccessible environment is the fact that people in wheelchairs do not have the information about which public places are accessible, because even if the official information about a lot of objects might say that they are accessible, the reality might be different. The media and the public have mainly been focused on this very real problem, on the negative aspects surrounding accessibility. So the big question is how to ensure that people with disabilities in Latvia have colorful lives and how to inspire them to live life at the fullest. The strategy. Instead of the usual naming and shaming the inaccessible Latvia, we decided that naming and faming might work better. So we based our strategy on 4 cornerstones. First, we wanted to increase the understanding and awareness of accessibility issues. Therefore, a serious and significant work and direct communication with entrepreneurs, municipality leaders, and opinion leaders was needed. Second, a reliable database that would reveal the actual accessibility situation in Latvia and that is available to everyone for free had to be created. Third, to bridge the gap between them and us, the audience to which accessibility issues relate had to be broadened, for instance, involving parents with children in strollers. Finally, in order to recognize and highlight the good examples in accessibility, we decided to fame those institutions that have made their environment accessible by symbolically awarding them with Mapeirons Wheel-Friendly Awards. The solution. Mapeirons, the first environment accessibility application in Latvia. The campaign's communication was divided into 3 phases. We organized a special event to announce the Mapeirons nationwide accessibility tour, explain accessibility parameters, and ask people to suggest places for inspection using the hashtag Mapeirons. Apeirons environment accessibility experts and parents NGO baby room that unites moms with children in strollers inspected different objects throughout Latvia and met with stakeholders face-to-face for nearly 3 months, recognizing and naming the most accessible cities, regions, and objects. All objects that have been inspected in real life and all of the data gathered during the nationwide tour were integrated into the first reliable accessibility application in Latvia called Mapeirons. To recognize the most accessible places and objects, we created the Mapeirons wheel-friendly stickers. We handed them out to companies that ensure that their objects are accessible. The results. The campaign Mapeirons became the largest event of the decade for the Apeirons organization. Over 200 Apeirons members were engaged and empowered by changing their internal doubts to self-confidence and can-do attitude. During the campaign, over 22,000 objects were inspected nationwide. Direct communication and engagement with more than 3,000 business representatives and municipality decision makers was implemented. Almost 150 media publications were published in the national and regional media. Active and continuous social network communication was carried out. 1,111 objects were recognized as accessible or partially accessible, labeled with the wheel-friendly stickers and included in the application. More and more businesses are showing interest in receiving the wheel-friendly award sticker, and we are lucky to widen our network of accessibility ambassadors.
Thank you. Let's hear any questions from Gerard.
I cannot ask it, but still, who is the agency behind it? Because most likely he was not programming it.
The programmer agency. The programmer agency is Q Mobile.
And who finances this project?
Sorry?
Who finances this project?
Actually, the idea came first, and then we just started to search for the sources. We applied for some EU funding, but we didn't get it. But it seems that those accessibility problems are not so important for some government institutions. But we found private partners, pretty much private partners. It was Latvia Zelstage, Latvia Railway. It was Rimi, chain of retail stores. It was not always the money that helped us, it was also the agency, the PR agencies that helped us, Deep White and other institutions involved. It was private funding to make this happen.
How did it happen that you got this idea for, like, at first? Not the Minister of Social Affairs or anybody else, like, how did you get it?
Yeah, it's strange, yeah. But Apeirons is the largest organization working on disability issues in Latvia for almost 20 years now, and we talk to people, we deal with problems, we know the problems, and if people come to us and ask where can we get in, where can I go to toilet in the center of Riga, or whatever it is, or people call from Canada and says, okay, my mom was Latvian and then she moved to Canada and I want to go to visit Latvia, but I'm in a wheelchair. Where can I go? Which museums can I see? Where can I travel around? So we get those questions, and that's how the idea came. It's not like taken from somewhere, nowhere. It's taken from real people and solving the real problems. Yes, please.
I have a question regarding disabled people from abroad. How can they get to know about this application? Is it also, tourist friendly? Because why I'm asking, because I was recently bringing in a couple of journalists who were disabled, and they were all doing one thing only. They were like mapping the whole city, and they're in terms of accessibility for foreign visitors with disabilities.
Those are people from France.
Yes.
Yes, we
So
met
this-
them also.
Okay.
The application was not finished then when they came here, but yes, right now the application is in 3 languages: Russian, English, and Latvian. This part of the project was more aimed on businessmen, on government institutions, on people, regions, and parents with baby strollers or people with disabilities, not so much focused on tourists. Of course, we are aiming at them, and we made this application in 3 languages, but that will be the next part of the project. We're planning to collaborate with the institutions, tourism centers, and so on, to make this application even more well-known abroad. But already now we have talked to our colleagues in Estonia, Lithuania, the same France journalists. They all said that this product should be implemented in their countries also, because applications all around the world till now, it's more like a Foursquare, if you know what I mean. You can just add a place. For example, I come here, I think this could be accessible, or the person who owns a place can just add an object. But it doesn't give any guarantee that the object is really accessible. So what is Mapeirons different? That we go and check every single place, and Apeirons is the only organization in Latvia that does offer environmental accessibility audits and monitorings, and we have our standards, we have experts on this. We're the only ones in Latvia who can do it, and we're doing it. And checking every single object to make this information be trustful, and so that people from France, Japan, or whatever comes and you can really trust the results and the data that are included in the yes, please.
What is traffic recommendations on a weekly basis or monthly basis?
We are actually gathering the information now, but in the first couple of days there were like several hundreds of downloads. Now there are probably thousands of downloads, but we need to gather the information from iOS and from Android download bases. It's not accessible for us yet, but we will gather it. And as I said, now the focus was on the tour, not so much on the downloads. To meet with people, to meet with government, municipality leaders. There were also cases when we were already trying to leave the town, and the municipality was Valmiera actually, and the municipality leader was just trying to catch us and came into bus and talked to people, talked to us, and expressed how important is it. And that was the main focus on this project that we're presenting today. future, of course, we will work more on downloads and raising awareness of that application. Thank you very much for the question. I hope I answered.